The message came at 2:17 a.m. Not from her, from him. A photo. My ex-wife, smiling, her hand on his chest. The caption read, "You'll never own a house like my new husband." I stared at it for a long time. Not because of what she said, but because of what she didn't. It wasn't about the house. It was about humiliation, about control. I knew her tone even through another man's words. Mocking, familiar, deliberate. I didn't reply, didn't call, didn't block him. Just saved the image in a folder I hadn't opened since the divorce. The one labeled evidence. Outside, the rain pressed against the glass like restless fingers. Inside, silence. I poured a drink I didn't want, stared at my reflection in the black window, and said to it, calmly, "She still needs me to lose." We'd been married 12 years. Enough time for her to learn my patterns, my patience, my restraint. When she left, she didn't take much, just the jewelry, the car, and my peace. The man she married was the type who laughed too loud at his own jokes. Moneyed, predictable. The kind who buys validation in marble and glass. They'd moved fast. A year, maybe less. I saw their wedding online, because she wanted me to. A vineyard ceremony, white roses. The caption, "Finally, someone who knows my worth." I didn't comment. I didn't even watch till the end. But I remembered her eyes, how she'd looked at me once with the same hunger for possession. I built quietly, my company, my plans, my silence. She thought I'd stayed stagnant, that I'd rot in the same apartment, with the same regrets. But grief, when you hold it long enough, hardens into something sharper, something useful. Months later, I heard they were looking for property. Something grand, she said to mutual friends, big enough to make my ex regret everything. I didn't laugh. I just listened. People reveal themselves best when they think you're invisible. They toured estates across the city, sent agents, compared floor plans. Every visit left a trace, an inquiry, a name, a whisper. One of those names reached me, a broker I'd worked with before, loyal, quiet. She called me one evening. "They're coming to see a house you might want to know about." I did. The property was one of mine, a new project, still off the books. A mansion on the outskirts of the city, sprawling, private, and priced well above what her new husband could afford. I told the broker to proceed. Let them tour. Let them dream. For weeks I said nothing. I waited while she posted filtered photos of other homes, captioned with, "Manifesting our forever place." I didn't manifest. I built. In silence, in calculation. By the time their viewing date was confirmed, every corner of that mansion carried my design, my taste, my quiet revenge. The day they came, the house was staged perfectly. Warm lights, fragrance of cedar and fresh linen. Every surface reflected calm, control, success. They arrived late. Her heels clicked against the marble, an echo I hadn't missed until I heard it again. She looked around with hunger, her husband with awe. "This is incredible," he said, running his hand along the banister. She smiled at him the way she once smiled at me. Calculated admiration. I stayed behind the scenes at first, watched through the glass partition as they wandered. She paused in the living room. I saw her mouth form the words, "I could live here." I stepped forward then, calm, composed. "Welcome," I said. She turned, and for a brief moment, the air between us froze. Her lips parted, but no sound came. Her husband looked between us, confused. I smiled, small and measured. "I'm glad you like the house," I said. "It's one of my favorites." They toured the rest in silence. She didn't speak much after that, just nodded, looked around, kept her face neutral. But her hands betrayed her, trembling slightly when she touched the doorknob. Her husband, oblivious, was already discussing offers, numbers, contracts. He wanted to impress her, to own something she could flaunt. When he turned to me asking about the owner, I met his gaze without blinking. "You're speaking to him," I said. The pause stretched, long and uncomfortable. He glanced at her, expecting denial. She didn't meet his eyes. The truth doesn't need theatrics. It only needs silence long enough for realization to sink in. I watched her swallow hard, her carefully painted confidence cracking. Her voice, when it came, was small. "You built this?" "Yes," I said, "from the ground up." I walked toward the grand window overlooking the courtyard. Turned once. "I suppose you were right," I said quietly. "I'll never own a house like your new husband." I let the words breathe. Then, "He'll try to own mine." Her husband shifted uncomfortably, mumbled something about other listings. They left sooner than expected. The door closed behind them. The sound was softer than I imagined. That evening, the house was mine again. Empty, peaceful, precise. I stood in the same spot she had, looked out at the same view she'd wanted to claim. I felt nothing. No triumph, no anger, just the quiet satisfaction of equilibrium restored. People think revenge is about making someone suffer. It isn't. It's about making them see you were never beneath them, only ahead. The broker called later, said they'd withdrawn their offer. I told her that was fine. Some houses aren't meant to be bought. Some are meant to be remembered. I poured another drink, watched the rain begin again, and whispered to no one, "Welcome to my home." And for the first time in years, it finally felt like mine.